Let's be honest about something most people avoid saying out loud. Some plans do not fail because they were weak. They fail because they were built for a smaller version of life. A plan can look excellent in a calm season and still be too small for the real world. It can survive when everything is predictable, then crack the moment the timing gets messy, the numbers get tighter, or the pressure starts stacking up. That is not because the plan was fake. It is because the plan was underbuilt. Think of a chair made for a child. It may be perfectly fine for a child. But if an adult sits down, the problem is not that the chair is fragile in some mysterious way. It was simply never built for that load. That is the difference we need to understand. Most people call the failure a personality problem, or a luck problem, or a discipline problem. But often the real issue is structural. The support was too thin. The margin was too small. The foundation was too shallow. And when the load came in, the system showed you the truth. Pressure does not create weakness. Pressure exposes it. And once you see that, the question changes. You stop asking, why did this break? You start asking, what was missing before it broke? If you think your portfolio or your business is solid, you haven't been audited by real sustained pressure yet. Most people live in a state of high-performance fantasy, where they assume their current systems will hold because they have held so far. That is the mistake. It's like assuming a structure is safe because it hasn't fallen down yet. That is the danger of survival bias. You mistake a lack of disaster for a lack of risk. But here is the truth. A system that is not tested is a system that you don't actually understand.
If this is making you rethink your own foundation, tap like and keep watching.
That is why the real question is not, can you handle pressure? Willpower is a finite, depletable resource. You can't just grit your teeth through a structural failure.
The better question is, was your system built for it? Because panic is usually not the problem. Panic is the symptom of a design flaw. The real problem is that the structure underneath was never designed to hold the weight you put on it.
Consider the difference between a house built on sand and one built on bedrock. When the wind picks up, the house on sand doesn't panic. It collapses. Panic is the emotional realization that your foundation cannot handle the load you have placed upon it.
When your portfolio or business is underbuilt, you are constantly reacting. You are shifting weight from one side to the other, hoping you don't fall. That isn't management. That is just trying to stay upright. You aren't engineering wealth. You are playing a high-stakes game of maintenance. You are running from crisis to crisis, patching holes as fast as they appear.
And you tell yourself that this level of stress is just the cost of doing business. It isn't. It is the cost of poor design. You are living in a permanent state of emergency because your structure has no margin for reality. Think about a bridge. A bridge is not impressive because it stands in perfect weather. It is impressive because it can carry load, absorb stress, and remain stable when the ground beneath it shifts. That is what good planning does. It doesn't promise a life with no pressure. It creates a system that does not collapse when pressure arrives. This is true in your money, your business, your leadership, and your personal life. Some people build for comfort, hoping the weather stays clear forever. They maximize for efficiency in a world that is inherently inefficient. They squeeze every ounce of performance out of the system, leaving zero room for an error. Others build for stress, knowing the weather will eventually turn. They maximize for durability. They understand that the cost of redundancy is a small price to pay for the assurance that they won't lose everything in a single bad year. Think about this. A bridge with 10 supports is significantly stronger than a bridge with 2. The two-support bridge works fine if the load is perfectly distributed and the wind never blows above 10 miles an hour. But add a storm. The two-support system is dead. The 10-support system is just a Tuesday. That is the difference between an amateur plan and a professional design. Real strength is boring. It works quietly in the background, absorbing the stress you never even see. That boring, quiet strength is the only reason professional systems survive for decades. If you're building something that has to last, tap, like, and stay with me. Comfort-based systems work beautifully until the first real test. They look good on paper. They are efficient when nothing goes wrong. But pressure-based systems? They may look less glamorous at first. They might feel slower, more deliberate, more conservative. But they keep working when the storm hits. And that is the difference between a project and a legacy. A project is something you build. A legacy is something that survives when you are not there to hold it together. If your system only functions when one small area is carrying almost no load, the whole thing is underbuilt. A well-built system isn't just thinner, faster, or cheaper. It has reserve strength. It has redundancy. It has margins.
Most of your financial stress is actually a design problem. If you're constantly worried about a market drop, your system is underbuilt. If you're constantly worried about an expense spike, your system is underbuilt. The market and the expense spikes are just the pressure. Your lack of preparation is the design flaw. You don't need more luck, you need more structure. You need a system that assumes the storm will come, not one that prays for clear skies.
A life built for pressure does not eliminate problems. It absorbs them. Speed without structure creates noise. A calm, prepared response beats a frantic one. Most systems do not need to be redesigned from scratch. They need to be rebuilt with honesty, admitting where the load is too high, where the support is too thin. That is how you turn stress into evidence and weakness into instruction. Built for pressure means prepared before, calm during, and wiser after the moment. That is where maturity begins. A young system tries to look strong. A mature system is strong because it expects the storm. It has the beams, the foundation, and the reserves to weather the worst-case scenario. It is built on reality, not on the hope that things will stay easy. Subscribe for the next Blueprint Room episode where we keep building what lasts. Class dismissed.